Welcome back to the 16th episode of Some Kind of Fun. And people didn't think we'd make it to 11. Today I'm joined by Mike Elias. I am not Mike Elias. Mike Elias is on the couch.
We are in the same room together.
We
Yes.
are.
Uh-huh.
So this is
How's
very...
the record store going for you?
It's going really well. So I'm often mistaken by only one person, Curtis Olmsted,
Yes.
as Mike Elias. And then, of course, the fun was Record Store Day,
Yep.
the DeLinda's play.
Right? And we were both there.
And so Ginny was there. So Ginny's there. Good chance Kurt's going to be there.
Yep.
Standing outside, he asked me how things were going in the store. To which I shook my head and just said, Mike's inside.
Try playing poker with him some night.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not going there.
Okay.
So, Barely Brothers.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful record store. How
Thank
did that transpire? How did it come about?
I worked in the music industry for many years. Worked at the Electric Fetus. I worked for Northern Lights. Worked for Hot Licks. Did some writing. And then I quit and went into the beer industry, started brewing beer. And I realized that I miss being around the record people and the music people. And I've worked for mom and pops my whole life. And I told my wife, I said, you know what? I can pay myself just as poorly as I've been paid in the past. And by God, I am doing it. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. So sometimes, even a little less. Mm-hmm. So there we go. So, but yeah.
Oh, that's
so it's
perfect.
been 10 years now.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about Barely Brothers as the entity, what your goals are, what you're trying to do, because it is a little unique.
Yeah, when I was growing up and going to record stores, it was a bit of a community. When I shopped at Hot Licks over on White Bear Avenue, there was a clerk there named Julio. And I remember buying the first Clash record. He sold it to me, and I was in there about a week later, and he was playing it. And he had the inner sleeve, and I was reading the lyrics, and I didn't get an inner sleeve. And so he just gave it to me. And I was like, well, now I understand what they're saying. This is great. But, he got to know me, and, you walk into a store, and they kind of know who you are. And I'm terrible with faces, but I can remember what some people like. When they start talking, I can understand their voice a lot more than I can understand what they look like. So I was just trying to build community. I like having bands at the store. In-stores were always a special thing when I was growing up. And there's so many willing bands in the Twin Cities, and great bands that want to play and just call up and say, can we play your stage? Like, well, yeah, of course you can. So it's building a community, and I like selling music to people that like music.
Yeah.
Yeah. The collecting side of it kind of upsets me. I mean, I wish records were cheaper, but they're not.
Yeah.
But, in 1980, I just did this the other day. I was thinking, well, when I was buying records when I was a 17-year-old, they were about $8 a piece. Mm-hmm. So I just looked it up on the internet and said, what's $8 worth today? And it was like $30.90 or something like that. So for a new record to be between 25 and 35, that's really not out of...
Right. It's kind of
it's
in line.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But
being a little older than you, it still shocks the hell out of me.
Of course, yeah. No, it is.
Because I was paying $3.
Yeah. Well, I when I was 10 years old, I got my allowance, which was $5 a month, and there was a store that sold them at $4.49.
Yep.
So I'd spend my $5 on that record and listen to it all month until I got the next one.
That was great.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the first record you bought was?
The first LP I bought?
Yeah.
First LP I bought was Elton John's Honky Chateau.
Nice.
First 45, I bought 2 of them on a day. I was on the back of my sister's bike. She took me up to the store, and I bought a little bit of Soul by the Music Explosion and Build Me Up Buttercup by the Foundations.
I think my first 45s were Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart.
Wonder what she's doing tonight?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. And then my first LP was Are You Experienced, which, of course, my dad loved.
Okay.
It was the start of a wonderful relationship between my dad and I, and music.
My dad was strictly polkas.
Nice.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So the in-stores, you do those often and you do them very well. So what was the genesis of that? And you do it more than anyone else, which is really cool.
Yeah. It was like, oh, we got room for a stage here. And then it's like, oh, look at this. Here's a stage for sale. So yeah. And then a friend of ours says, oh, here's a rug for your stage. Then it's like, well, why don't we get a drum kit so the drummers don't have to haul their drums around all the time.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, I got a deal on a piano. Should we bring a piano in? So then we got a piano. And then I bought a bass amp, because those are big.
Yeah.
Then Chuck Anderson, who runs sound for us,
Right.
he's got every bit of gear you need in his house.
Okay.
So then I bought some of the PA from Kurt Obita, our mixing board, and our monitors. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of kept building and building and getting bigger, and I just thought that'd be more attractive for a band to come
Sure.
into the store and play than having to haul a lot of gear around.
Absolutely.
And it's not the best sound system in the world, but it sure sounds good in that room.
Oh, it sounds great in that room.
For a bunch of cinder blocks and
And,
just
yeah, and I know Chuck basically uses the stage amplification for the instruments.
Yeah.
And
yep.
puts the vocals through the PA, and it all works out
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So are there any highlights that leap immediately to mind when you think back on those in-stores?
Oh, I remember the first year we couldn't do Record Store Day because we were too new of a store and couldn't get our pledge in time. So we had a bunch of bands that day and celebrated Record Store Day. And I can't remember everybody who played that day, but it was like, wow, we still got a ton of people at our store for not having any of the product.
Yeah,
And then recently, our 10-year anniversary,
that was a great day.
we had a bunch of bands at that time. 5 years ago, we had the Hipsters, and we got a snowstorm, and it didn't have a great turnout. But this year, when we had the Hipsters and the Mofos and King Custom, it was packed.
It was packed.
And when Charlie Parr's played there a couple times, that's been great. Did you ever hear this band called Silent Treatment?
Yeah.
Yeah, they played there.
Yeah.
I like them a lot. Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yes.
And of course, the Suburbs,
Suburbs. Oh,
played
that was-
an infamous in-store
Yep.
with Stevie on the piano bench all the way down to the horns kind of off the stage to the side.
Yeah, that's when we still had access to the outside, which we don't have anymore. Which is
Yeah.
sad. But yeah, I remember their manager coming in and saying, "Can we move this piano off the stage?" I was like, "No, unless you can lift it on your own." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because Hugo was hanging out and coming to the store kind of on a regular basis back then,
Okay.
and so I think he kind of started that thing, got that ball rolling for us.
Yeah.
Because he was also, behind Kiss the Tiger too.
Yeah. I know there was a connection.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly
Yeah.
how, but
Yeah, so
yeah.
he was very instrumental
Yep.
in helping us get things going. So that was good.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And now it's people just call up and say, how do we get on your stage? Like,
Yeah.
here's an open date. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and I've discovered new bands there that Night Jobs. I'd never heard them before they opened for the Silent Treatment there.
Okay.
And just love them. I go and see them when I see they're playing other places now, just because I loved them so much.
Well, that's the other nice thing, it's an afternoon and people are out, and
Yeah.
sometimes they don't expect to hear a band there, and then they hear somebody and it's like, wow,
Uh-huh.
where are you playing around town? That's
Right.
So it's good to promote them. Good to promote the local scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Annie and the Bang Bang has a great song about your star.
Yeah, yeah. She, in fact, she wrote one song about a conversation we had. That what was it called? Jukebox something. That was on based on
Jukebox Revolution.
Jukebox Revolution. That's it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say the Foreigner song.
Yeah.
So I was hesitant. So I knew if I would have said jukebox, it would have came out. And it's like, no, that's it. Yeah, and then she wrote a song about the store in the last record. Yeah, well, that's the first time I saw her was in the
now,
store.
hanging with the big kids. I love that song.
Yeah.
It's very.
Well, she's a great
appropriate.
person.
She is.
There's still possibly a video maybe to be shot in the store with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she told me about some things, and it's like, really? I have to catch you? Does she jump or something? Like, I'm like, so,
Well, she teaches stage cam.
Yes,
So
yeah.
maybe she can.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, but I don't. So,
There
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Well, I was going to say, since
Yeah.
she teaches it,
Right.
maybe she can teach you how to catch her and nobody gets hurt.
I played third base in sixth grade. That's
There
it.
you
That's
go.
about all I could catch then. And I didn't go any farther than that. So, yeah.
There you go. Very fun. Very fun. So is there anything coming up that we should know about at Barely Brothers?
Yeah, starting in a couple of weeks, we'll get some bands back up and running there. We're going to try to do a few more Friday nights in the summer instead of Saturday afternoons.
Okay.
In the summer, there's so much competition for open streets and all these free events
Sure.
that I hate having a band in the store when something big is going on somewhere else and their mom and dad show up, and that's about it. 'Cause-
Yeah.
And it's beautiful outside, and you know how the Minnesotans like to be outside in the summer.
Yeah.
But Friday nights, because we had a bunch of those during our 10-year anniversary, and they worked out
Yep.
good. So we just stay open a little later, which I'm okay with. And,
Yeah.
And so I know the Butanes are going to come on Flag Day, and
Okay.
just as a 3-piece, and play some blues on a Friday night for us.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm getting the schedule together.
Nice.
It'll be posted probably on Facebook and on our website.
Okay. Perfect. Well, so much fun to have you here today, Mike.
Well, this is some kind of fun.
It is some kind of fun. I never say what kind of fun, but it is some kind of
Yes,
fun.
it is. Thanks for having me. I appreciate
All
it.
right. Thanks for coming.
All righty.
Woo!